I still remember the exact moment I saw her, laughter spilling over like sunlight through a window, but it wasn't for me, it was for him. I was sitting alone on the wooden bench outside the cafe, nursing a coffee that had long gone cold, when I first saw her. The sight hit me like a punch. She was leaning into a man I didn't recognize, her head thrown back as she laughed at something he said, her hand brushing his arm in that familiar, intimate way she used to brush mine. My chest tightened, and I felt a hollow ache spread through me. I had known our relationship was rocky, that the silence between us had been growing heavier, but seeing her so effortlessly happy with someone else, it was a blow I wasn't prepared for. I wanted to walk away, to turn my back and pretend it didn't hurt, but something kept me rooted to that spot, watching, remembering every detail of her smile, every little quirk she had that had once made my heart race. I had tried to convince myself it was over between us. The fights, the misunderstandings, the nights spent staring at the ceiling in silence, it all pointed toward this ending. And yet, seeing her there, so alive, I felt an odd twist of hope and despair. The man beside her didn't matter, I wasn't thinking about him at all. All I could think about was her, and how she had slipped out of my life in such a quiet, unnoticed way until it felt like she had never been mine at all. I left before she could see me, walking the damp streets without any clear direction, letting the city lights blur through the rain-soaked night. Days passed, and I avoided the places we used to go together, the cafes where our conversations had once felt endless, the park where we had shared stolen kisses beneath the autumn trees. I told myself I was done, that I had to let her go, but nothing could erase the memory of her laughter, that intoxicating sound that had once been mine alone. And then came the rain. I had stepped out to grab an umbrella from my apartment when the sky opened up, a sudden downpour drenching the streets in silver streaks. I cursed under my breath, pulling my jacket tighter around me, and then I saw her. She was running across the street, hair plastered to her face, clothes clinging to her as she laughed like she hadn't a care in the world. My heart stopped. She looked like she had just stepped out of my dreams, and yet, the reality of seeing her there, wet and fragile, made my chest ache. I wanted to call her name, to run to her, but something in me hesitated. I remembered the cafe, her laughter with him, the hollow ache it had left behind. Could I risk that pain again? But she saw me. Our eyes met across the rain-soaked street, and in that instant, it was like the world had shrunk to just the two of us. The other man, if he had ever been there, seemed to vanish, swallowed by the downpour, leaving only us, suspended in a moment I had longed for and feared in equal measure. She ran toward me, slipping slightly on the wet pavement, and I caught her, pulling her close as the rain soaked through our clothes. Her laugh, that same laugh I had once thought belonged to someone else, turned into something softer, something hesitant, something that belonged to me again. "I didn't think I'd see you here," she said, her voice trembling as she clutched my jacket, water dripping from her hair. I thought you were gone." I whispered, my hands holding her as if letting go would erase the last few years of longing and regret. "But seeing you, I couldn't stay away." There was silence, the kind of silence that spoke louder than words, as we stood there, rain falling around us like a curtain separating the world from our little bubble of rediscovery. I saw the guilt in her eyes, the regret that had been hidden beneath her laughter with him. And in that moment, I realized it wasn't about the other man, it had never been. It had always been about us, about what we had shared and what we had almost lost. "I thought it was over," she admitted, her voice barely audible over the rain. "I thought you didn't want me anymore." "I never stopped," I said, feeling the words burn through me like a confession I had been holding for too long. "I just didn't know if you wanted me." Her eyes filled with tears, and she pressed her forehead to mine, rain mingling with our unspoken apologies. "I was scared," she whispered. "I made mistakes. I cut her off with a kiss, not the hesitant, unsure kind, but the kind that spoke of years of longing, of heartbreak, of love that refused to die. The rain fell harder, drenching us completely, but we didn't move. Nothing else mattered. Not the streets, not the cafe, not the man whose laughter had haunted me weeks ago. All that existed was this moment, this second chance that the rain had somehow brought back to us. We pulled back just enough to look at each other, dripping and shivering, yet alive in a way we hadn't been for months. "We have to try," I said simply, feeling the weight of everything we had lost and the fragile hope of everything we could still have. "Yes," she agreed, smiling through the tears. "We'll start again. And in that rain, on that deserted street, I realized something I had forgotten in the months of pain and longing. Love wasn't just about holding on, it was about finding your way back, even when it seemed impossible. That night, with the rain falling around us, I saw her laugh again, not at someone else, not across a cafe, but with me, and it was ours once more.